Yo, yo, yo. What is going on, everybody? We're about to get rolling. Well, there's nothing left to do it, boys. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. I'm your host, Supreme. We've made it to another week, and we got Seattle versus Vikings today. So, let's just quickly just hang out and chit chat about the Vikings so far this season. And then maybe a little bit of an assessment of how the season goes while people trickle in. I see Lefty, MJ Reigns, and Skull Vikings. Let's go. Vikings news today in the house. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me before this fine football Sunday. What do you guys think about yesterday's games? Pretty interesting. I stopped watching the Texas game or the Texans game because I was just doing a bunch of errands and stuff with the missus. And it was still pretty close. And then I checked the score later, and it was quite embarrassing for that finish. So I'll have to watch that game later. And yeah, so what an interesting turn of events that this season has been for the Vikings, right? So far, we've seen a little bit of everything, right? We've seen a dominant team, an incredible start to the season, 5-0, beating teams where people thought we had no chance at beating. And then cultivating into a little bit of a slump, like we had 2 losses back to back and a lot of people wrote us off. And then we went into our get right games and it was a little bit of up and down, but we still managed to win. So despite all the adversity that we've seen this season, the ups and downs, the interceptions, the injuries, suspect, cute plays at times, despite all the things that have gone wrong, this Vikings team still sits at 12-2. So, what more can we ask for, especially after the past decade or two where we've been in this kind of rinse and repeat cycle of where we're, falling just outside of a good draft pick, and just not really being competitive, but not really a contender or a threat. So it's beautiful to see our Vikings taking this step in this transition year, overachieving way more than I could have ever imagined, and I think a lot of us could have imagined. Going into the season, I put our Vikings coming in at 9 wins on the season, thinking that would be pretty optimistic and realistic at the same time. We sit at 12-2. Brian Flores has been incredible. I'm glad that after last year's efforts or performance that he was able to do with the pieces that he had, I was completely sold, and rightfully so, because look at this year. He brought in the pieces that he did, and he made this defense the way that it is right now. Some people want to criticize the amount of pass or the amount of yards that the team gives up, but what really matters is how many points we're giving up. And it's weird to me because at the start of the season, I used to hear a lot of this stat where they would say, if the Vikings can make a quarterback throw more than 30 times, they're like 22-7 or 22-4, something like that. And then as the season went on, that narrative or that kind of talking point kind of disappeared from network television or sports talk shows or in general. And it's kind of curious because if you allow, or if we do a good job of running the stopping the run game and forcing them to throw more than 30 times, it increases the likelihood of us coming up with game-changing turnovers, game-changing turnovers on downs, things like that have been a staple to this defense throughout the season. So far, so good in this season. I've seen nothing but this team face adversity head on and find ways to win. And I've seen a lot of lessons that I think are going to pay huge dividends this year specifically, and then going forward as this new era kind of transitions into JJ McCarthy. So, as for the start of the season and where we're at right now in 12-2, I think all us Vikings fans should be more than happy with what we're at. So yeah, pretty good. That kind of gives me a little bit of a wrap up to what we're kind of seeing with the Vikings and so far. And I want to move into take a couple moments into first thanking everybody for being so patient with me the last few weeks while I was dealing with some health issues. I know the worst is behind me now, and I'm focusing on developing this channel going forward. I have some lofty goals going into 2025. My goal is to have a live chat every Tuesday through Saturday at 9 a.m. That'll be approximately, 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes at first, and then as it progresses, maybe up to an hour if we're lucky. It'll serve as a bit of as an ongoing morning talk show, I guess you could call, on this channel, followed by 4 segments throughout the day that will be between 5 to 10 minutes long. That will be of a variety of topics, including hot take reviews or criticisms from mainstream hot takes that that kind of pop up regularly. Also power rankings, predictions, as well as breaking news. So keep an eye out throughout the day for those uploads. And then on top of that, we're going to maintain our staples in the channel, where we're going to be making our Friday night talk with the boys. Every Friday night, 9 or 10 Eastern, depending on everybody's schedule. We try to be on and talk Vikings and talk about the upcoming game. That'll always be a big factor to this channel. And then lastly, the next big staple is going to be our watch parties going forward on Sundays. The studio is almost back up and running. I've been able to, although I blew out my motherboard and my main computer, I've been able to resolve that now. A lot of technical difficulties and adversities that we've suffered throughout the beginning of the season have kind of almost resolved themselves as well. So we're looking good on that home front. So that kind of brings most of the channel episodes or segments, I guess you could call it. And lastly, I want to start having a Tuesday night football talk, where we'll be doing basically a live chat session where we'll be just chopping it up, trying to kind of decipher, kind of make sense of what's going on in the season, kind of more like a brainstorming session to try to kind of make sense of everything, so we can kind of put our own perspectives and our judgments in a different light. So when we get into the later part of the week, when we're doing our predictions, or in our Friday live, for example, or the pregame, like we're going to be doing on Sunday mornings as well. My dogs are going crazy. I do apologize for that. I think my nephews popped by, but they're visiting right now, so they have not gotten accustomed to them yet. So yeah, it's a lot to take on, but I think if I put what the Vikings have shown in practice, by not letting adversity hold me down, as well as some hard work, we'll get all that out to you guys, and hopefully 2025 will be a big year for the channel. And yeah, so I thank you guys so much for hanging out. And next, let's move on to a segment that I want to call Tooting Our Own Gallahorn. So first and foremost, I was spot on when it came to Sam Darnold, America's quarterback. I didn't anticipate he raised his ceiling, but I believed he raised his floor a significant amount due to the help and mentoring from Kyle Shanahan and KOC. Going into the season, I compared it to a college student going into the practical, where they had to move into the field and had to put what they learned in class into practice, right? So it was all on Sam to kind of put it together. I figured he would have his highs and lows, and I've only been worried one in one game this season. And full disclosure, memories of the boogeyman with 2 minutes left on the clock, down the score, got the better of me. And my heart was pounding right before that interception by Gilmore against Aaron Rodgers to end the game against the Jets. That was the only time I can truly say I've been nervous or scared about in any aspect of the game. I've literally just been along for the ride. I just sat in the metaphorical roller coaster and I said, Jesus, take the wheel. And I've been along for the ride and I've been super happy. And I think you guys have been too, regardless of all the ups and downs. I think we're in a great spot, especially going forward. Jacksonville. Oh my God, the ups and downs. But, Sam's story is far from over, guys. There's still games left to be played and the postseason to go. I anticipate the Vikings overachieving the rest of the way, regardless of how it ends. I know that and regardless of how it ends, I know that I'll be more than satisfied on how this season went. Yeah, I know, right, Lefty? That's crazy, eh? I couldn't agree. It's been a bit of a haunting, but we're making it through it, right? So now the next thing I want to talk about is how I predicted, or should I say how I envisioned the season to go, right? Going into the season, I anticipated a big win against the Giants, then stealing 2, maybe 3 games in the toughest stretch of the season. After that, I anticipated the middle of the season would be our get-right games, for lack of a better way of saying it, and we'd be working on hitting our late season form or our postseason form. My worry was that from week 9 through 13, we would be basically playing trap games. And I don't need to explain to you Vikings fans why those games scared me the most. But despite all that, I figured we would tune up and be reaching the postseason form going into this last stretch of the season. Which brings us to where we are now in the season, where I thought we would be 8-6. And that was in my realistic prediction before the season started. And we're sitting at 12-2. So I'm extremely happy and I'm grateful to be on this roller coaster ride of the 2024 Minnesota Vikings. Can you believe it? Man, unreal. And the last thing I want to brag about is how the games have been going this year. I've been saying over and over that this team has experienced and lessons learned that most teams learn in the postseason, through devastating losses or just adversity and going through it, right? Our Vikings have been put into those situations all season, right? And, there've been too many playoff games that I've watched over the years that resemble how our games have gone this year. I've seen teams start, really, really strong and then let leads kind of fall apart and not be able to finish the game. We experienced that in the Green Bay game, and we almost lost the game, but we held on at the very end. So that experience is something that's going to be huge going into the postseason. Not to mention games like against Jacksonville or against Tennessee, where we seem to struggle, or the Colts, but we somehow seem to overcome those self-inflicted injuries or pains, I guess you could say, and we still found a way to win. And sometimes I've seen games like that come out in the postseason, right? I've seen teams come out that's supposed to be extremely dominant, and all of a sudden it's a total defensive game and it's a low-scoring game, and they have to find a way to win in a way that they haven't had to all season. Luckily, this Vikings team has had to experience all this all season, and regardless of the situation that they're put in the offseason, I have no doubt that they will be prepared, and that's all that we can ask for, and I think they'll come out on top. Um, I just hope that our Vikings continue to navigate the rest of the season the way we need to make it one of the greatest Cinderella stories in modern sports history. I think it'd be an incredible thing for the Minnesota Vikings organization and fan base because we have come so close multiple times. We are a winning franchise. We are a great organization. We have an awesome team. So why not us, right? So I hope it comes down to us making it all the way and winning it, right? We came close with Case and Diggs after the Minnesota Miracle, but that season was special, just like our team is this year. But there's something else, isn't there? I don't know, but I know you feel it too. So, well, enough of some, tooting my own horn here. Let's move on to talking Seahawks versus Vikings. We're still keeping pace with the Lions for the number 1 seed, and I hope that we steal it from them in the last game of the season. Well, and if we get lucky and we do it before, if they stumble and we take it and hold it, I'll take that too. But I really want it to be in the last game just to break their spirits. Oh, that'd be so good. But isn't it quite nice that when we have our destiny in our hands, we've continued to stay in control? It's been quite the opposite for the past decade plus, right? Like, I can remember multiple times over the past 10 plus years where we've been in the situation where it's like, if we can just win out, we can just control our way, we will, and then we're forced to just wait. Oh, maybe they'll lose, and then we'll just slip in, and I hate being in that situation where we have to hope on somebody else failing for us to succeed. I hate that feeling. And this year we don't have to suffer through that. And I hope the rest of the way we continue to play strong and finish out winning the rest of the way. That way, nothing can be said about our destiny. Nothing can be taken from us like they try to every single week. But first we need to beat the Seahawks, right? And it's no secret that I'm a Geno Smith fan, and I know that he's injured, and it might be Sam Howell playing, but he had a full practice the first Wednesday, right? I didn't keep up with the injury report, so he might be on pace to start. So regardless, the Seahawks have been have been in a up and down all season, right? And they are ripe for the picking, but they still are a tough team. They struggled against the Packers last week, letting Jordan Love throw for 229 yards and 2 touchdowns and allowed 140 rushing yards and a score. On defense, it wasn't much better. Their secondary got torched by Love, and they were unable to get any sacks in 27 passing attempts. Despite all that, the Seahawks can still put up a ton of yards and put up a good fight in a losing effort. It's a recipe for a comeback and a wild ending if the Vikings don't stay disciplined and keep the foot on the gas, right? But right now the Vikings are banging on all cylinders, guys. In the last couple weeks, from the Falcons games to the Bears games, we have been executing better than we have in the past. I still would like some more improvement and more everything, but I think it's just a work in progress, and I think that's the way that we're trending. And hopefully by the postseason, we're right where we need to be at a high level of execution, right? I anticipate that we continue to play the same at the same level and win in convention fashion. That way we can leave nothing for the critics. And Lefty just let me know that he is starting. So, I love Geno, man. I love his footwork in the pocket, his presence. He delivers a beautiful ball. His decision-making can be a little bit iffy at times, but regardless, I like his fundamentals. I really like his story. So we can't sleep on Geno. He can still put up a ton of yards, and he can still be dangerous, guys. So, but I still expect big games from Jettas, Addison, Hawkinson, and Darnold this week. My X factor for the game is going to be a toss-up between Metellus and Rip Van Ginkel boys. I feel that there's huge potential for picks in this game. I can see Van Ginkel getting a pick on a quick screen pass or just a quick slant, something like that. Just like he's already picked off a couple in this season. His intuition when it comes to those types of plays is top tier. And I'm feeling he's going to have a lot of opportunity because I feel like they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to be passing a lot. And he's just going to sniff one out. So I expect at least an interception from him. And then I anticipate an interception from Metellus as well. Because that secondary, last week the Packers did a really good job of picking them off. But I feel like he's really underrated in that secondary, in that weird safety trio that we kind of rock in there with that hybrid linebacker safety thing that we're doing. I love the creativity in B-Flow. I think he's going to be out there. I think he's going to be impactful. And I think he's going to come away with one. So for my X factor, I think it's a toss-up between those two. It could be either one. And that leaves me with one last thing, which is my score prediction. I believe it's going to be Vikings 34, Seahawks 16. Well, there you have it, guys. What do you guys think? Thank you so much for hanging out and letting me kind of get through my everything. Any questions? What are you guys feeling? What are you guys thinking? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. Who is your X factor? What time is it where you are? We got the 4:05 game Eastern for me. Lefty, did you fly out to Seattle to see this game? That'd be wild if you did. No, 16. 34 to 16. 60, did it sound like 60? I'm sorry. 34 to 16. I feel like Geno's just got like one touchdown and like just a bunch of field goals in him, and they're not going to keep pace with us when scoring like that. That'd be wild. But yeah, so yeah, it's been a heck of a season, guys. Like I don't know, what's the biggest shocker to you? I know Lefty, man. Good thing you decided not to sell those season tickets, man. Like that's after that Sam Darnold pickup. How impressed have you been with Sam Darnold? Last time, remember on our last stream, was the last game stream you were there? And you were going wild in the stands. I absolutely loved every moment of it. It was incredible. It was so awesome. Good stuff. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning. And I hope we got a big game coming today. When it comes to Jettas, Hawkinson, Addison, and Jones, I feel like, man, I think that we're gonna stop their run defense pretty hard. You'd sign them. You were a little bit, but it was incredible, man. It was awesome. Yeah, signing Sam Darnold. I still have this feeling where if I sign Sam Darnold, I want him to go. I'm sorry. I want you to do what Tom Brady did in his prime and take like $20 million a year and take pay cuts and be that kind of leader on the field, to sacrifice your paycheck to bring in the players needed to make a dynasty, right? And if Sam is willing to do a extremely team-friendly deal and service as a transitional piece, whether that's only in the preseason and then just becomes a backup if JJ is showing that he's ready to take the role starting from week 1 after OTAs and training camp and preseason. If he's looking like he fits the part, then yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be really, really cool to have a guy like Sam Darnold be a mentor and, a heartbeat to this team going forward. And relegating to be there as the backup and know that when he's called upon, he can go out there and throw for 5 touchdowns if needed, right? And he's always got that game clinching drive where late in the game, Sam Darnold has proven this season that he dials in. Doesn't matter if he's thrown a bunch of picks or he's been going 3 and out the entire second half or struggling with just drives with no points. When it counts, he comes away with a field goal or a touchdown or a game-defining drive at the end. So, an incredible backup to have if we could potentially get to that. I doubt that he'll take that kind of money, but that's just me being extremely optimistic. I know. That's awesome, Lefty. Getting you nice and liquored up. That's sweet. Gotta love mystery drinks when your friends hook you up. Oh my goodness. But yeah, here's a question, guys. I got 2 questions for you. These are the hard-hitting questions that I think need to be asked and answered, okay? After this season ends, when the rights to this movie get picked up, 1, what is the name of the documentary or movie about this 2024 Minnesota Vikings? Right? What is the title of that movie? And then, who plays KOC, Cam, and Sam Darnold? And Jettas. Who plays all the key players, in the movie? Who are the actors? Let me know, guys. Oh, man. That'd be incredible. I feel like, man, if we go all the way, even if we make it to the championship game or, heck, to the Super Bowl, and even if we lose, I feel like this is still movie worthy. Like, coming off a season, you know what I mean? Like, the hype, I could just imagine how the movie plays out, right? Like, you start the season, all the hype between all these other teams, and then all of a sudden, and after 2,300 simulations, the Vikings still last place. And it's just all this dogging on the Vikings, how they're just never, they're going to be the worst place, the worst team in the league. And then to see, the 5-game win streak. And then to see, the 2-game losses, just to see how everybody, to see Christian Darrisaw go down and how the team rallies and how it finishes. We haven't seen it play out in real life, but I can't wait to see it play out in the movie. Awesome, man. Tom Cruise plays KOC. KOC's like 6'4" and Tom Cruise like 5'4". That'd be a lot of camera work that they'd have to do. But guys, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Ponder, let me know. Who do you got playing KOC, Jettas, Sam Darnold, Cam in the movie adaptation of this year's season? And what's the name of that movie going to be? Let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And until next time, Skol Vikings. ESPN Analytics had us picking first in the draft. Yeah, I know, man. They're so bad. Ponder. Hey, you know what? I was extremely young and brand new into football. But one of my early lessons when it came to the Vikings was having high hopes for low tier players. Because I thought, man, Christian Ponder can do enough. I thought he could not transition to become a superstar or anything. I was like, he can make the steps and become a really good game manager, enough for Adrian Peterson to do the rest of the work, But I was like, we got purple Jesus, man. Adrian Peterson, man, all day. You just have to freaking be slightly above average at game management. and we have a shot. And we all know Christian Ponder failed me hard. But you know what? I still love those years, and I still have a soft spot for Ponder. Every once in a while, I'll Google what's Christian Ponder been up to, because I'm just a softie and I love my Vikings. But I really appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next one.